In the same way that the Komodo dragon serves as a reminder of the delicate equilibrium that exists in nature, the Longhorn cattle serve as a living monument to the adaptability of humans and the sustainable role that we play within the ecosystem. Both the United States and Africa are responsible for the raising of millions of Longhorn cattle, yet the care that is provided for these animals is very different. To what extent do these two locations differ from one another in terms of the methods used to raise Longhorn cattle? Please leave a comment with your answer and make sure to watch the video to find out the answer. Longhorn cattle, which are distinguished by their horns that are curved and impressively long, can reach a length of up to 8 feet. The Ankali-Watusi Longhorn, which originates from Africa, and the Texas Longhorn, which is renowned in the United States, are the two variants of this breed that are considered to be the most popular. The Longhorn cattle have their roots in Africa, where they have been raised for years. Their origins may be traced back to Africa. Cattle were not only an essential source of food in indigenous societies, but they were also a symbol of wealth that was utilized in religious rites and trade. As a result, cattle carried a substantial amount of economic and social significance. The United States of America received its first shipment of Longhorn cattle in the 16th century, and these cattle swiftly acclimated to the severe climate of the vast regions. Longhorn cattle began to make their way onto American ranches by the 1800s, and they quickly became an indispensable component of the agricultural sector in the United States. On the other hand, over the 20th century, this breed has seen a substantial reduction as a result of crossbreeding with calves that have a better yield. Fortunately, between the late 20th century and the early 21st century, Longhorn cattle began to make a comeback and restore their role in American agriculture. This was made possible by the efforts of small-scale farmers and aficionados. In comparison to more traditional ways of livestock production, the raising of Longhorn cattle in the United States is distinguished by a number of distinctive characteristics. As a result of their remarkable capacity to adjust to dry surroundings, Longhorn cattle are not only able to endure tough conditions, but they also require less care than other breeds of cattle. Because of their resiliency and their capacity to keep their health with only minimal maintenance, they are an excellent option for environments that are typically dry and expansive. Longhorn cattle ranches are primarily found in the western and southern regions of the United Regions, such as Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. These states have a climate that is both hot and dry, which is great for the growth and development of this breed of cattle. When it comes to breeding Longhorn cattle, the way the ranches are organized is one of the most distinguishing characteristics of the industry. Longhorn cattle, in contrast to normal cattle, which are sometimes confined to cramped enclosures, are allowed to graze freely across large grasslands, where they bask in the natural environment and appreciate the freedom of space. Not only are these ranches vast, but they can cover hundreds or even thousands of acres. They are very enormous. At the same time as they are able to travel freely and graze on natural pastures, the cattle are kept from wandering too far away by fencing that has been deliberately built to prevent them from doing so. Furthermore, these ranches place an emphasis on retaining the natural characteristics of Longhorn cattle, making certain that the cattle require just a little amount of care while yet maintaining their robustness and health. As a result of their extraordinary flexibility, Longhorns are able to flourish in hostile environments without the need for extensive maintenance. In my opinion, one of the most appealing aspects of Longhorn cattle is the fact that they consume only natural foods. This herd of cattle is allowed to freely graze on fresh grass across expansive meadows throughout the summer months. In order to maintain their health over the winter months, farmers supplement their food with hay or silage. This helps them deal with the colder temperatures. The raising of cattle in this manner not only contributes to the preservation of their health, but it also demonstrates a profound connection with the natural world. What are your thoughts on this method of providing medical care? Please share your ideas in the comments section below. Reproductive traits that are exclusive to American Longhorn cattle are described. The average age at which they are ready to reproduce is between 2 and 3 years old. However, this time frame might change depending on the nourishment and care that they receive. Longhorn cattle typically give birth to a single calf at a time, and the gestation period for these cattle typically lasts between 280 and 290 days. There are instances of twin births, although they are extremely uncommon. In certain extremely rare instances, it is even possible for 2 calves to share the same placenta. During the first 6 months of its life, a newborn Longhorn calf will normally weigh between 30 and 40 kilograms and will experience rapid growth. With the right kind of care, they can gain anything from half a kilogram to 1 kilogram every day. Because of the outstanding development potential of this breed, they can reach a weight of between 200 and 300 kilos by the time they are approximately 1 year old. This is despite the fact that their growth rate slows down slightly once they have been weaned. Longhorn cattle are not only well known in the United States, but they are also kept in large numbers in Africa, particularly in nations such as Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and other places located in the western half of the continent. The farming practices in Africa are very different from those in the United States, despite the fact that both regions produce this breed for the purpose of producing meat and milk. It is clear that these distinctions manifest themselves in the sizes of farms, the living circumstances, and the care procedures that are utilized, resulting in a distinctive farming approach that is tailored to the natural environment of each place. In Africa, Longhorn cattle are primarily produced in tiny farming communities where traditional farming methods are the predominant mode of production. These cattle are not confined to modern pen systems. Rather, they are able to graze freely across large grasslands where they naturally hunt for food and water. In contrast to the United States, the diet of Longhorn cattle in this region does not include the utilization of contemporary machinery. Their primary diet consists of natural grass, and they are also given roughage, which includes things like hay, twigs, and leaves. The aforementioned demonstrates a straightforward method that is not only efficient, but also perfectly matched to the economic and environmental conditions of the region. There is a general tendency for African Longhorn cattle to be smaller than their American counterparts. The average height of African Longhorn cattle is approximately 4 to 4.5 feet, and their weight ranges from 800 to 1,200 pounds. They are able to defend themselves against predators and readily adapt to rocky and hard terrains thanks to their thick and exceptionally strong horns, which are somewhat shorter than those of other animals. African Longhorn cattle have a longer lifetime and a more consistent breeding cycle than other breeds of cattle, despite the fact that their reproductive rate is somewhat slower than other breeds. The Longhorn cattle that are raised in Africa not only provide a source of food, but they also have significant economic, social, and cultural significance. Longhorn cattle are known to play a key role in traditional rites within communities, particularly among the Maasai tribes. These cattle are considered to be symbols of riches and rank. One of the most important aspects of the culture is the buying and selling of cattle during celebrations and other significant events. This practice reflects the riches and reputation of each family. On the other hand, the quality of the meat produced by American and African Longhorn cattle is drastically different. This is mostly due to the fact that farming practices and living circumstances in each country are different. Longhorn beef is an extremely nutritious source of food. The American Longhorn beef is distinguished by its tenderness and natural sweetness, both of which are the product of farming procedures that are strictly regulated. Beef from the United States is lean, low in cholesterol, and simple to prepare in a wide range of cuisines since it is raised on large grasslands of superior quality and receives supplemental feed when it is required. This makes it an excellent option for people who are looking to maintain a healthy diet. On the other hand, African Longhorn beef, particularly of the Anjawusi breed, has a more robust flavor, but it is more difficult to chew and has a more distinct texture. This reflects the distinctions in their techniques of growing and living environment, which results in a different meat that is suitable for individuals who want a powerful and hearty taste in each and every mouthful when they consume it. As a result of the fact that cattle in Africa are frequently allowed to roam freely and graze on dry grass, leaves, and tree trunks, their diet is not as diverse as that of cattle in the United States. As a result of its much greater levels of both protein and iron, African beef is an excellent option for diets that are looking to increase their intake of both energy and nutrients. Both the color and the texture of American beef and African beef are the main distinguishing characteristics between the two. Beef from the United States is often brilliant red in color, soft, and simple to prepare, whereas beef from Africa is darker in color and has a more robust texture. Which one do you favor more? If you are a fan of American beef, please leave a 1, and if you love African meat, please leave a 0. It is possible to make efficient use of cow manure as fertilizer in the United States. which is an essential component in the process of combining crop production and livestock farming on farms. States such as Texas, Nebraska, Iowa, and Kansas are examples of typical locations that use this approach. In these states, the utilization of manure not only contributes to the preservation of fertile soil, but also helps to minimize the expenses of production. Immediately following its collection from farms, cow dung is either composted or processed into an organic fertilizer that is rich in nutrients. Not only is this fertilizer utilized for fields of maize, wheat, or soybeans, but it also contributes to the enhancement of soil fertility and the enhancement of crop yields, and does so without an excessive reliance on chemical substances. Not only does this method cut down on the expense of industrial fertilizers, but it also helps to preserve the environment by reducing the amount of waste produced by cattle. The utilization of cow dung offers a multitude of economic advantages to farms. Not only does it assist farmers in reducing the expenses associated with chemical fertilizer, but it also boosts crop yields and establishes a reliable source of income. Some farms even take advantage of this chance to sell organic fertilizer on the market, which allows them to increase their revenue channels. Not only in terms of the care that is provided, but also in terms of the quality of the meat and the cultural roles that they play, we can observe that the methods that are used to raise Longhorn cattle in the United States and Africa are quite different from one another. Considering that Longhorn cattle in the United States are well cared for, develop rapidly, and provide meat that is soft and tasty, they are appropriate for the healthy eating trends that are prevalent today. Longhorn cattle in Africa, on the other hand, have tougher flesh, which is good for individuals who are in need of an energy boost. This is despite the fact that their diet is less interventionist and that their flavor is more robust. Agricultural practices each have their own set of benefits, and both of them contribute to the provision of a valuable source of food. Do not forget to give this video a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you found it to be both helpful and fascinating. This will ensure that you do not miss any of the subsequent films. I am grateful that you watched, and I hope to see you in the following videos.